Hello, everyone, and welcome to the She Shoots podcast, Women Empowering Women in the Shooting Community, Season 4, Episode 39, Aiming High, covering the theme of sport shooting. My name is Regina Ruiz Ordonez, and I'm from the Canadian University Shooting Federation. And joining me today, as always, are Deneen Tomlin and Casey Kavanchuk from Lady Guns, and Kelly Melanson from Maple Seed Project, Sunfire Radio, and CCFR Women's Program. I would like to start by thanking our sponsors, Cabela's Canada Outdoor Fund, positively shaping the future of the outdoors. Every cent donated by rounding up at checkout goes towards helping Canadian organizations just like ours. Beretta, family owned and operated since 1526, and Vortex, the best in optics. If you have any questions or comments throughout the show, make sure to leave them in the chat box below. And without any further ado, Deneen and Kelly, please introduce our guests for today.
Thank you, Regina, and welcome everybody. And hey, Kelly, we got another cool lady to talk to tonight. We're so excited, right? We've got homegrown talent that's making waves, Miss Kerri Monsour. So, Kerri, I'm going to get the privilege of reading your bio. Then we're going to jump into a bunch of questions. So that's what we're going to do, and hopefully you've got a whole bunch of answers for us.
I'll do my best.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about Kerri Monsour. She's a PRS shooter with roots that go back to when she first picked up a rifle at 14 in cadets. Thank you for your service, ma'am. But her real journey into precision shooting began after she married her husband, Shane. He and his business partner, Steve, started a company called EM Precision about a decade ago. And not long after, Shane had her out to her first PRS match. And she says she was instantly hooked. So since then, she's been steadily growing in the sport, learning every step and loving the challenge. She now shoots for Team EM and says she's lucky to be surrounded by an incredible supportive crew that helped her grow both on and off the range. She has also had the chance to give back by running a Ladies' Day event that is held at a place called the Chaz Range. An incredibly rewarding experience that has let her help more women step confidently into the shooting world. So not only that, but in 2023, she was proud to be featured in the Gunny Girl calendar. And I had the privilege of working on set for that one and spending some time with you there. And we had such a great time. So that was truly an unforgettable experience, celebrating strong women in shooting sports. She's had the opportunity to compete in the legendary King of 2 Miles, where she pushed herself further than ever before. Literally, you say literally, so we're going to have to find out what that means. Her longest confirmed shot to date is 2,100 meters, although not during a competition.
No.
She's a proud shooter for Team EM and is also sponsored by Curtis Custom Actions, MDT, March Scopes Canada, Trigger Tech, and IBI. And she'd like to thank their support because it means the world to her. And you say you are fired up for the season ahead. So let's get into this interview and talk about all those great things that I just mentioned in your bio. Over to you, Kelly.
Yeah, welcome very much. Super excited to have Kerri on our podcast tonight. Kerri, as Deneen said, Kerri and Deneen and I are fast friends. We've seen each other for the Gunny Girl calendar, but also super excited about the topic tonight as well. PRS, it's something near and dear to my heart, and Kerri has been shooting in leaps and bounds with that, and I've held her rifle that she has, and it's extremely pretty, and it's one that I'm super jealous about, and it was also featured in our calendar as well. So
What?
Yeah, so welcome to the podcast. As I said, again, super excited to have you here.
Hey, I'm excited to be here.
So
Did we say we're super excited to have you here, Kerri?
I think we said it a couple of times, maybe 3, maybe 4. So I know that it was a great bio that Deneen just read, but why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Where are you located? How did you? Well, first of all, where are you located, and then we can get into a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So now I'm in Vegreville. We moved ago. So we decided a small town was right for us, and I haven't looked back for a second. I love it out here. It's nice and quiet. The town pace is exactly what we needed. So We're really happy out here, and we are legitimately a 3-minute drive from our local range. So it's wonderful. You can pack up and go and be back in an hour if you really wanted.
All right.
And for those of you who are watching and don't know where Vegreville is, it's in Alberta, and it's famous for the giant, the giant egg, the Pasenka. That's right.
Yeah.
So.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? How did you get into shooting? I know this story, so why don't you tell everybody else about it?
So when I was 14, I went to an air cadet camp. It was basically the first cadet camp I ever went to. It was a basic camp. They called it out at Penhold, and they had us shooting, I believe it was 17 HMRs. So it was super, super fun. And I competed against a whole bunch of different squads there. And I think I placed 4th in over a couple hundred kids that were there. So it was super, super fun, and I really enjoyed it. After that, I didn't get a whole pile of opportunities aside from going to those types of camps. When Shane and I, when Shane and I got married, we weren't really into guns. We didn't do any shooting or any of that. It actually kind of started with paintball, which is really funny. So we started with paintball, and then Shane's like, well, let's take it a step farther. Let's see what we can do with some rifles. And so he started up EM, and he did that for a few years with his partner, Steve, and they are blowing it out of the water. It's an amazing company, and they build some really, really beautiful stuff. So once they got the business going, Shane was essentially running 2 full-time jobs, right? He was doing EM plus his real work. So we decided that we needed to spend more time together, and if he's going away on weekends, I'm going to start going with him. So I did, and I really started enjoying it really quickly. It was super, super fun. And honestly, when you get out there, the amount of help that you get from more than just the people who bring you is incredible. So if you're ever worried about going to a match and being a first-time shooter, don't. The people are amazing. They'll help. So yeah, and then just kind of that's how it started. That's how it's been going. And we've been growing.
When did you shoot your first PRS match?
Oh, I think that must have been 2016.
Okay. And how quickly did you progress?
Well, so there weren't a lot of women shooting. I started in 2016. There might have been 2 or 3 other women. It was really, really a small pool. So, and basically I would shoot the Saprel shoot. So those are the Southern Alberta Precision League. Wonderful shoots. They're so much fun. That's my first match this year, and I'm really looking forward to going. And it was good. They did 2 matches a year, and that's kind of what we did for a little bit. We would go to the Prairie Precision Steels match. And so we do those couple of shoots a year, and Shane's recently expanded into NRL. And I had the chance to shoot the King of 2 Miles with Steve. He wanted to partner up with me, asked me if I would shoot with him. So I was very, very honored. And I said, yes, I would love to. We did some practicing, and we ended up going out to a cut line. Oh, I'm not even sure where it was. Northeast of Edmonton. And that's where I got my longest shot at 2100. So that was pretty cool. So we were all stoked and ready to go to the King of 2 Miles. What they don't tell you is that the pressure is real when you're out there. When you see a target that's that far away and all you hear is wind howling, the pressure gets to you a little bit. So I didn't hit much more than dirt that year, but it was still a super fun experience, and I really, really enjoyed myself. Steve, maybe not as much.
Good for you for showing up, though.
Yeah.
That's outstanding. And
I'm not going to lie.
What an opportunity for anybody that's aware of it. It's quite a legendary competition. So, but before we move on too far, there may be people that are watching tonight or that watch this after the recording is posted that might not know what PRS or King of 2 Miles is.
Yep.
Do you want to just touch a little bit on what this sport is that you're shooting, and what some of these events are that we've been talking about?
Sure. So PRS is basically, it's like positional shooting. So you are given a number of different stages throughout a weekend or a day, and your job is to create the most stable position off of a prop given and engage specific targets. So they'll give you your distances of your targets. All your targets are known. For the most part. I don't think they've done a hidden one on us yet, but so all your distances and your targets are known, and you can sight them beforehand. And while you're on the line, before you get to go up and shoot, you'll get to dope all your targets and figure out all of that stuff. And then you're timed for usually about 90 seconds, and you have to engage your targets in whichever direction they tell you to do it on whichever props you're given, whether it be a tank trap, a big log. We've had some crazy props before. There's rooftop stages. There's some fun stuff.
Thank you for that. It's going to help people understand as we're going along. Like I said, for those that might not know, you're talking about big heavy rifles, positional rifle shooting, long distance engagement with targets, and lots of variables like wind and instability. Is that a word? Yes.
Instability.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. There we go. Instability. That's the word. I made up a new one. So,
do you want to talk about dope as well? Because you mentioned it, and it is something that's incredibly important for PRS. But some people don't know what it is. So, do you want to talk about it and how it's relevant to your shooting?
100%. So your dope is basically you're trying to figure out where to dial your scope in order to engage the target and those sorts of things. So you're taking into account your wind, your elevation, your distance. You're plugging it into a kestrel, and that's telling you where to dial your scope and for your wind and all of that sort of stuff. So you're not just kind of holding it and hoping for the best. Like, there's a lot of technology, and I'll be brutally honest, I'm not the best with that sort of stuff. I'm very lucky that I shoot with my husband most of the time, and I have the teammates that I do, because I can plug it into the kestrel now and I can get my reads. But reading wind and stuff like that is definitely a skill that I have not mastered, not by a long shot. But every time you're out there, you're learning something new and figuring out something else, and you're always learning.
So one of the things that you just mentioned, you said that it's a great sport. People are very supportive. And when we were talking about dope, people will yell out, so holdovers, or they'll help you out because they do want you to do well.
He will. Yeah. So if you're missing a target and you're an inch right every time and you're maybe not seeing it, somebody behind you on some glass will likely see it, and they'll tell you hold a mil left, or they'll a hold, and hopefully then you hear them and you get that target. So it's wonderful. Nobody's really in it for themselves.
No, everybody is so super supportive. It is an art form to have wind readings and to make those adjustments. When we talk about wind readings, it's about your projectile and the travel. You have to account for wind, and it's shifting your bullet. So when we talk about holdovers, that's where you place your scope on the target or not on the target, because you're accounting for that wind. And it is an art form. Kestrel is an instrument. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
So your kestrel is basically where you're gonna enter in all your data. So you're gonna enter in your distance. You're gonna read the wind with it as well, and you'll enter that in, and it does all these wonderful, fancy mathematical calculations that I would never be able to do without it. And it spits out a number at you, so that you're able to say if you need to hold 2 mils of wind, you can either dial that wind and hold right on the crosshairs, or you can just hold over, so you can hold at that 2 mil hash mark.
Seems pretty complicated, but once you start shooting and once you get really into it, it is not that complicated, especially when you do have some people that are there and willing to share knowledge on wind reading and holdovers and inputting that data as well. And if you have the ammo, so if it's if you're doing home loads or if you're buying factory ammo, factory is nice because they'll give you the information that you can look it up. But if you're doing your own loads, you're going to have to play with it a little bit. So this is the stuff I love talking about. I don't think you couldn't tell that.
Another thing that's super cool about this, obviously you ladies know this, is that you don't have to start with the big heavy gun and the super long distances. This is a sport you can wean your way into with smaller caliber and shorter distance. Yeah. And then as you figure out how the math works, and if you enjoy the atmospherics and the wind and the variables and the people, it's something you can get out and do. And I'm not into it as much as you ladies, but I've been out, I've shot a match, and I also took a course, and I can tell you it was the hardest of all the platforms I've taken courses on, pistols, shotguns, rifles. Learning long range was the hardest thing I've ever done, and it was the most satisfying when I shot past a mile. So I think that you guys, what you do is truly outstanding. So how do you keep practicing, Kerri? How do you keep engaged so that you're getting better?
And I'm probably the worst for it, because I sometimes go to the range with Shane and we'll go and zero the rifles. We were just at the range yesterday. We sent a few rounds down just to kind of foul the new barrel. I changed calibers this year, so now I'm shooting a 25 Creedmoor.
Nice.
Yeah, so we had to go and foul the barrel and zero everything. So we did that, but generally I'm terrible. I will not shoot until I'm at a match, and all of a sudden I'm like, hey guys, let's do this. And off we go.
So a lady who loves working under pressure. Awesome. So then let's just assume, if you were going out and practicing, what kind of practice routine is set up for a PRS shooter?
Well, you could do lots of dry fire stuff. So even just honestly, like learning to get down, get behind your rifle comfortably and positioning yourself in the proper position to start, even just doing that will definitely help. Because I can't tell you how many times I get behind there and I drop my face down. I'm like, wait a minute. Right. And you're trying to position. So the easier it is for you to get down, get comfortable behind your rifle, the faster you're going to be with those stages, and the faster you're going to be able to engage your targets.
Yeah. I don't think it's really appreciated when we see you guys getting in and out of your guns so quickly, and not having to mess around with everything, because you're able to get yourself right back to where your setup is. So that's great advice. And I love, Kelly, what you said about getting to know your load. So are there any other things that maybe Shane would like to see you getting out doing more, or maybe the other way around when it comes to practicing?
I'm sure he'd love for me to help do more hand loading with him.
Okay, yeah.
Which I'm down here lots with him, but he's the one who knows all of that stuff, and he's like, or here, just or take the primers out of these, or can you deburr these, or just the simple stuff, right? But maybe some of that, but
that all has to be done. It's helpful.
Yeah. Well, and now that our with us too, he's I think he's on factory ammo for at least half of the season, but now that he's shooting with us, poor Shane gets to load for all three of us.
So it's become a total family affair.
Yeah, 100%.
That's outstanding, and that is such a good thing for the shooting sports, to keep reminding people that we, all ages, all types of people, it doesn't matter, and there's all types of sports. So I love that you've brought your son into it as well.
Yeah, and he's doing really good. He's surprising me. He's definitely going to be something to watch as he gets older and grows in the sport.
Good for him.
Outstanding. So what are your goals for the sport this year?
You know what? As long as I do better than I did last time, I don't have to win anything. That's never my goal, is to win anything. I just, even small personal goals, like if I notice myself not pulling the trigger quite as much, or if I notice myself finding my eye relief way easier, or holy smokes, I shot that left-handed stage really well this time. It's not, it's more about the little goals than any real big ones.
I love it.
I do too. It's kind of like focusing on what you did right.
Yeah.
And so you can repeat that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like that, instead of what you did wrong.
Right.
And worrying about that. Before we move on to the questions, a couple of the other questions that we have for you, do you want to talk a little bit about what your setup is currently? What are you shooting? Because you did say that you've had to foul in a new barrel. So
Yeah.
what are you currently shooting?
So this year we changed over. I shoot a 25 Creedmoor now. On a Curtis Fowler action. It's in a MDT Elite chassis, an ACC Elite chassis. It's beautiful. I actually got the opportunity to spray it myself. So
Nice.
let me in the shop to play with some toys. So I got to Cerakote my own rifle. So I don't know if you can see it there. I've kind of got it set up behind me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Beautiful.
I was very lucky to be able to spray that myself. I'm running a March 4.5 to 28 High Master scope. And the boys at Trigger Tech gave me a wonderful gold diamond trigger. So
Nice.
I actually sprayed my gun around the trigger. Gold, so I had to have gold on my gun. And of course, I'm shooting an IBI barrel.
Of course. All really high class, beautiful stuff. Some of it's Canadian. It's built here in Canada. Beautiful, beautiful rifle. So congratulations on that. Do you want to talk a little bit about EM and how they build rifles too?
Oh gosh, I'm not sure how much I can tell you about how they build rifles. They do an amazing job. So if you're looking for anything that's a bolt action hunting rifle, long range rifles, anything really bolt action is kind of their jam. They are amazing. So you'll end up calling Shane first. You kind of talk about what you want to build, what your goals are with it, and he will suggest some amazing products to you, whether or not you know what you want, or if you have no idea, Shane can really, really guide you. Then they bring in all the products. We get it off to Steve, and Steve is the lathe master. He is amazing. He builds the most amazing gear, and they have a half-minute guarantee. They guarantee that the rifle will shoot a half minute, but they can't guarantee that you can shoot or that you can load. So
when it's leaving them, it'll shoot half minute. When it gets to you,
well, it's on you. It's on you to figure that out.
Yeah.
But it's very seldom that anything actually goes wrong with their rifles. They're wonderfully made. The craftsmanship is next level. If you ever get a chance to see one of their builds, I highly recommend taking it out and maybe send in a few rounds if you have the opportunity.
Yeah.
Come ask me. I'll let you send some.
Perfect. I do know that they also they're very easy to work with. So if there's any problems or anything happens with your rifles, just give Shane a call and
100%. They want to make it right.
Yeah. So
and like it doesn't happen often. There's not a lot, but they take care of you if it does happen.
And where are EM rifles manufactured?
Mm-hmm. So we Shane and I, like I said, we're out in Vegreville.
So that's the shop. Yeah.
And the out in Spruce Grove. So we back and forth between Steve's place and our place and dropping off rifles and picking stuff up and shipping stuff out. But they make it work really well.
Excellent.
Awesome. Yeah.
So it's an Alberta-based gun manufacturing company here in Canada. Excellent.
Yes.
Keep it Canadian. So let's talk about some of these matches that you've gone to. Where have you traveled to for your sport?
So farthest I've traveled has been down to Cypress Hills, southern Saskatchewan, which is beautiful down there. It's so close to the border, and the hills out there are just next level. It's gorgeous. So we went out to that one. That was Colton's match, the Prairie Precision matches, and they were wonderful. He's not running them this year, unfortunately, but wonderfully run matches. We go down to Medicine Hat twice a year for the Saprel matches. I always look forward to those ones. We take the dogs, we take the boy, we go camping, and almost every time we go shooting, we make a weekend out of it. So it's
family. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where are we going? We are going to Cranbrook on Mother's Day weekend. We're going to the NRL Hunter match. Shane is shooting that one. I am not. It's Mother's Day. I'm going to stay in a really wonderful, beautiful cabin on a ranch with horses and donkeys and puppies. I'm going to have a good time.
Perfect. Yeah, sounds perfect. So NRL. So
Mhm.
Deneen was talking about if you want to try something, a little bit smaller caliber, a little bit shorter distances. That's what we're talking about. It's more of the rimfire piece of it, correct?
So NRL Hunter is it's still center fire.
It is. Okay.
So it's more of a hunter match. So basically what you're doing, these stages are all blind. So you don't know what you're going up to shoot. When you get up there, they will say there are this many targets in these general directions, and you are given a time frame. And I'm not exactly sure what those times are for NRL, but they say you have to find these targets this amount of time. They don't tell you where they are. So part of the challenge is to find those targets, then dope them, and then engage them all on time.
Which is a lot harder because
Way trickier, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Wonderful.
I got to be the media for them last season. Ran around and took pictures of them for the whole match, and it was awesome. It was super, super fun and very interesting. Lots to learn.
I've seen some of those matches covered on social media in the US with the big name shooters when they do the hunter matches, and those are just crazy looking matches up in the high country. The settings, it's stunning, but I can't imagine how difficult that must be. But that's the point, right? It's like hunting in the backcountry, hunting in the wild, knowing your rifle. Yeah.
So it's a totally different challenge as opposed to positional, right? You're either shooting on your belly, shooting off of a tripod, or a fence or something like that, as opposed to like all the really weird barrels and stuff like that. So
Absolutely. So Kelly asked you about where you've gone, and we've talked about the kind of matches. Is there any one or two things that come to mind, Kerri, about your funniest story or your favorite memory, especially early on, maybe when you were a bit unsure about yourself?
Honestly, I'm trying to think something funny. Well, I can tell a really funny story. It's not about me, but it's really entertaining. One of our team captain, Mikey, he was we had a boat that we were supposed to shoot out of. So generally you get inside the boat, you find your position, and off you go. Well, Mikey, for whatever reason, decided he wanted to Superman off of the boat. So his legs were straight off of the back of the boat, and he was like floating, trying to take these shots. And it was absolutely hilarious. It was so fun to watch, but so that was really good. I mean, some of the positions you have to get in are a little awkward at times. Other than that, no, I can't think of anything really.
What about you? I know you've won some awards because I have, liked them on social media. So tell us about some of those memorable moments where you got to take some hardware home.
So I'm very blessed. I won my top lady prizes at the Saprel matches. I won 2 Cactus Cups and one of the Prairie Classics, and one was 2 in 2022, 1 in 2023. So I was very, very happy. I never honestly expected it, and there's some of the women who are out there are excellent shooters. So I've never considered myself to be, anywhere near the top, as I've kind of always dabbled somewhere in the middle, and so I was very, very happy, and it's very challenging. Like I said, some of the women out there are really, and some of these youths that are coming up, there's a lot of young girl shooters, and I'm going to bide my time, because by the time they're 18, I don't think I'm going to be taking home that prize anymore.
That's fantastic to hear. We've had the opportunity to interview some amazing young ladies that are just kicking ass, and it is truly amazing. So before we move on to getting women in the sport or recommendations, let's talk about your mentors and your instructors. Who's been guiding you along the way, both men, and maybe there's a couple of women that you look up to as well.
Well, so obviously Shane, my husband, has been my number one go-to. He has taught me everything from the ground up, and he's been an awesome, awesome mentor. He knows so much. He absorbs information like nobody I've ever met before. I cannot do that. So when he learns it and he's already got it, and I'm asking him for the third time the same question, sometimes you have to ask somebody else. So there, I mean, Steve obviously has been amazing. He has taken me under his wing to teach me everything he knows as well. He even took me into the shop for a few months, and I got to try and learn things on the inside. He stuck me on the lathe there for a hot minute, and that was a next level experience.
That's awesome.
He's been wonderful. Mikey, our team captain, has been immensely helpful. Aside from, like, he loans me equipment. He's like, okay, this is what you're going to do on this stage. And he's like, this is why. And, he's been very, very good. Especially when Shane and I end up we're having a domestic on the line. Somebody else to talk to and to pull from.
So that's your marital support line. You've got a couple of people to call on. That's good.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah. No, and honestly, our whole team has been amazing. We have a wonderfully supportive team. We have guys all across Canada, from BC all the way out to New Brunswick. So we have a great, great team. Even guys that you meet for the first time, it feels like you've known them for so long. So we have an excellent team structure. And if you don't know, like, you just ask, and everybody seems to be willing to help and wanting to help and see you do your best.
That's amazing. I didn't realize you had that many team members across the country. So you have a bigger shooting team than I realized. So congratulations.
Yeah. I think, I don't want to throw a number out there because I'm probably going to be wrong, but I think it's roughly 13.
That's pretty big.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's great.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So before we go on a little further about women in shooting, because you are somebody that ladies look up to in the PRS in Canada, why don't we talk a little bit about some of your involvement? I know that you're not going to be doing the Chaz Ladies Day. You're a little bit far from Chaz right now, but you've organized those events for the past few years. Let's talk a little bit your involvement in them. First of all, do you want to tell everybody where Chaz is, and tell us a little bit about how you got involved in that?
So Chaz is the Canadian Historical Arms Society, and they have a range down by Genesee. So that is west of Edmonton, maybe about 40 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Big, beautiful range. Steve is the president of the range, and he has taken that place into something incredible. If you haven't been out there recently, you should definitely go, because it is probably one of the nicest ranges, I'd have to say, in Canada. It's amazing out there. So
big range.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So basically, Steve had asked me if I wanted to run a ladies' day. And I said, that's a big ask. That's not a small thing. So he's like, no, yeah, you can do this. I have all the faith in the world in you. I was like, okay, here we go. So I ran it for a couple of years, and it was, like I said in the bio, it was rewarding. Like, the feeling of having all these women come in who are nervous, excited, like the emotions are all over the place. Some people were brought not thinking they would touch one. They were just going to come and look. And, and then women who were so excited that they couldn't get behind a rifle fast enough. So it was amazing. I have women who have come every single year since it started, and some that are coming for the first time. And I am constantly thanked for putting it on, because a lot of women go, I don't know how I'd shoot a gun any other way. I've always wanted to try, but I've never known how.
Yeah. So
it's nice. And a lot of people say, well, I'd go with my husband, but he wouldn't tell me how to do things right, or he'd get mad at me, or those sorts of things. So it's a very no pressure atmosphere where you don't have somebody sitting over your shoulder going, well, you did that wrong, so let's try this. Or, you have people who are going to be patient. They're going to explain everything to you. And you get to take your time. And if you're comfortable with, like, we had F class out there, and those are some big rifles. They have a bit of kick. They're not your 22s. So some women will go out there and they won't touch it. Other women will go and shoot it once and go, okay, I'm good. And other women who will be like, can I send like 5?
Yeah.
It's really fun watching people go through these stages and phases of which rifles they like, because we had everything from cowboy action to long range to 22. We even had archery out there, shotgun, handgun. It was so much fun. And we averaged on anywhere between, I think it was 70 and 100 women, depending on the year.
No, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Do you think that Chaz will have one again this year?
They are having another one. It's on May 24th.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. May 24th. How do people reach out? I know you're not running it, but if you're able to share the details.
Ryan's running this one.
Okay.
I'm not, I think let me see if I can find it. I'll have to get you the email address, because I don't want you to send it to the wrong place and go, why didn't I get a response?
Yeah. Nope. Just let us know. And if people are interested that are hearing the show or listening, they can write in and say, I'm interested in that. Can you give us the information?
You can also the Canadian Historical Arms Society on Facebook. True. They're on there. And I do have a ladies group, Chaz ladies group on Facebook as well. So
I think I'm part of that.
I think I might be too. Yeah.
Oh, I know they're having, and I've been answering. So if you have any questions, I catch it, I'll answer.
That's outstanding. So the bottom line is there is going to be a Chaz Ladies Day, and people need to put it in their calendar for May 24th.
May 24th. Yeah. Definitely.
Excellent.
Yeah,
I just went in there. It's a Chaz Ladies Day. Hello, any news on this year is the last post. So
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I know that they're working on it.
Okay. Why don't we talk a little bit? Why don't we talk a little bit about your sponsors, and then we'll wrap it up with the questions that we love to ask at the last of it. So I'm thinking that EM is one of your sponsors, but EM
is the sponsor, yes.
Yeah.
No. So obviously I have Steve doing all of the work on my rifle, and Shane helping with everything too. Like I said, if you see me at the range, come say hi. I'll show you the rifle. You can send a few rounds, see what EM's all about for sure.
Yeah. What's the name of the range you shoot at right now?
So it's run by the Wildlife Federation out here in Vegreville.
Okay.
So I don't know that it actually has a name, but it's right beside the golf course. And some days I feel real bad for those golfers. They have a tee off meters from where you're shooting.
Right. I just wanted to throw that out there, because if somebody's watching or listening and they're at a range around Vegreville and they see a lady with a smoke show of a long range gun, they're going to know it's you. So
100%. Yeah, it's purple gold. You can't miss me.
All right. So let's talk about the rest of your sponsors. Casey was rolling the sponsor contact info on the screen. So let's give a shout out to all your sponsors.
You bet. So my action sponsor is Curtis Custom Actions. They build a stellar action, super precise, super crisp. I love my Valor. I am shooting the ACC Elite, the MDT ACC Elite. MDT is a wonderful company. Martin has been nothing but supportive. He is absolutely excellent. Provided me with so many things for the rifle. Like I have got my Baker wings on there too, the Send It level. MDT has quite a bunch of really, really cool products.
Really nice. Yeah.
Right. My scope is the March 4.5 to 28 High Master. Doug and Niza with March are some of the most incredible people that you've ever met. They're absolutely wonderful. Their scopes are amazing. If you ever need anything, they are right there for you. We love Doug and Niza. I am shooting a Trigger Tech trigger. It's the curved gold diamond edition. Like I said, the boys there spoiled me and sent me the gold trigger, so I was very, very, very excited to add that to my rifle. And of course, I'm shooting an IBI barrel.
Woot, woot.
Yeah.
Outstanding. Yeah. So Casey's done a great job of making sure that
Yeah.
all the contact information is available if anybody wants to check out products from any of your sponsors. And I wanted to, you were talking about the gold trigger. I was just thinking maybe a lot of people don't know what you do in your day job. And so, and I love, because we're going to transition to women in the shooting sports. And so here we're talking about this badass long range woman shooter named Kerri, who gets down in the dirt, down and dirty, weird positions because she doesn't want to miss her target. But what does Kerri do during the day that she could accessorize things really well with her gold trigger?
Well, I sell radio ads for our local radio station.
And you're a makeup artist.
And a makeup artist. Yeah,
right.
Yeah. I'm a licensed makeup artist. I am a jack of all trades. I have done some of the weirdest things. I have the most weird background of jobs and stuff. So yes, I am a makeup artist, which pairs very oddly with shooting.
Right. But that's what I love, the juxtaposition. You're a real world kind of, you're a mom, you're a wife that's supporting a business. You've got your day job, you've got your side hustles, and you're still out having fun and making it look easy. So good for you. And that's so that's why I wanted to do that, to transition into women in shooting sports. So Kelly, what do we want to know?
So, how can we get, or what are your suggestions to bring more women into the shooting sports? And why is it so important that they come and try out shooting?
Well, honestly, I think we're really heading in the right direction with the amount of ladies' days and range days that I'm seeing around Canada now is absolutely amazing. Because the word is getting out there, because generally, if you don't know where to look, you don't know where to look. So if women are looking into it, I highly suggest looking for your local ranges and starting there. You can even look on Facebook for ladies' day shoots and stuff like that. Honestly, if you haven't been, a ladies' day shoot is probably one of the best places that you can start. If not, even reach out to places like EM or, other builders in Canada, and they might be able to put you in a direction, right? They might know something that you don't. And I do think it's really important for women to know how to shoot. I do think it's important that sorry, excuse me, to get behind the rifles. A lot of it is for knowledge alone. The more you know about something, the less you're going to fear something or think negatively of it, right? So it is still just a tool. It is nothing more than that. So I do think it's important that women are capable of, they're not going to look at it and just be, oh, that's too much for me, I'm scared. At least if you know how to treat it, you're going to be safe with it. So even if you go out there and just understand the safety fundamentals of a firearm, that's wonderful too. But honestly, I can't imagine many people getting behind a rifle of really any kind, sending a few rounds and not wanting to send a few more.
Yeah, super
I'm with
exciting
you
and
there.
super fun.
Yeah.
Now, if you keep mentioning Vegreville and come and shoot my rifle. So if people do want to come and shoot your rifle, how can they reach out to you?
You can reach me. So I'm on Instagram. My handle is @KerriPRS. So you can find me there. Send me a message. Anybody who follows me on my Instagram page, I follow back. So message me on there. Because Facebook sometimes just gets too busy. So if I've never met you and you're just wanting to reach out, I may not answer because there's just so many on Facebook. But if you're on Instagram, that's my shooting platform. So reach out to me there and I'll most definitely respond back.
Excellent.
Thank you very much. So
yeah,
we're still on the track of women in shooting sports. So this is a question we ask, and we usually get the same answer all the time, but I'm curious on your experience, Kerri. you're a lady, you go out to a range, and you mentioned that back in 2016 or 17 or thereabouts, there was only 2 or 3 women doing this. So
Yeah.
what was it like? What I'm trying to achieve is this: how did you overcome that feeling that all women feel that I don't belong here, I don't know enough, I'm scared, like help us understand what you did to overcome it, so that maybe other ladies can do the same.
So the first the first thing is when you're going out to a PRS match, you're not shooting with 100 people watching you. That's not how it's done. You are separated into squads. So your squad is maybe only 10 people. So that dials back a lot of the anticipation right there, knowing that not everybody who's at the match is going to be watching you as you're trying to get into position or whatever. So your squad is generally pretty small. Honestly, it didn't take me more than a couple of stages before I realized that people were literally there. They just wanted to help. If they saw something, or they'd tell you how to do things a little bit better, or, you know what, next time maybe just try this, or here, use this shooting bag. I think it would do better on this stage. It honestly, it just becomes such a fun thing, and people are just talking and having such a good time that it didn't, by the time you're a few stages in, it doesn't feel that stressful or that intimidating anymore. I mean, I'm sure the blood still gets going a little bit while you're standing there waiting for your beeper to go, but it's once you're there and you realize that everybody is there just to help and to have fun on their own as well, you just kind of let go, I guess. I don't know. I've never cared a whole pile about what people think. So I just, I get out there and I wing it. And if I screw up, well, so be it. Try better next time.
So what I'm hearing is you never felt any pressure that was different because you were a lady or a woman or a female out at a match. You just had to overcome your own concerns.
It was definitely more about me than it was anybody else. 100%.
Wonderful, yeah. Wonderful. And what about all these lovely young women that are coming up in the sport now? What are you doing to help them move along? Or maybe they're helping you. What's that experience like, the interaction with them?
So I haven't shot with many of them on my squad. Like we shot next to each other, so we'll meet up with them as we're moving along to the next stage. And you just kind of ask them, so what'd you do here? What'd you hold for win? These kids, they're like, oh yeah, I cleaned the stage. And you're like, cool. So it's kind of fun just asking them, well, what did you do? Right. And it just talking back and forth, you're always learning something new, and like, oh man, I never even thought about getting into a position like that. You're right. That would have worked much better. Like, it's kind of funny as a woman shooting in, I don't want to say a man's sport, but it almost is, right? It's so heavily male dominated that women can do things that the men can't. So
we're more flexible.
Yeah, that's it, right? So there was a tire stage once. It was a big old tractor tire, and you had to shoot from 3 positions on the tractor tire. So the guys would go left, center, right, or whichever direction. Well, instead of going left, center, right, I went in the tire. And I shot from inside the tire because I was so smaller that I could get in there. And I remember stepping in there, and one of the guys behind me said, "Is she allowed in the tire?"
Didn't say you're not.
So it's kind of interesting being able to do some things that they can't necessarily do, even especially on like the really low positions where halfway prone and kneeling. So it's fun.
That's fantastic. That is an excellent observation that I'm going to remember as a takeaway on positional shooting, is that women are more flexi-bendy, so we can likely overcome some of those positions differently, or maybe even more comfortably, and maybe move through that stage a little more quickly. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's very, very cool. So awesome. I've run into you guys before at a little event called the Easter Gun Show here in Calgary, which is this weekend. Will you guys be at the show this weekend?
We're not at this one this year. No, we decided to do a couple small town ones. So we did the Vegreville one last month, which was run by the Wildlife Federation out here. And it was excellent, wonderful gun show. And I believe it's the Camrose one I want to say that we're doing next. And that's not until I think the summer. So with all of Shane's extra shoots this year, we had to really be picky and choosy about where we went and how far we went and where our weekends were going and stuff. So unfortunately, not the this year, but
no problem. I just wanted to shout out. Plus, I'm going to be there, so I was hoping to run into you in person. But you brought up another really good point. It's an observation, so I'm just sharing it off the cuff. But some of the bigger urban centers gun shows have changed over the last few years for obvious reasons. But those small town, small community gun shows that are supported by the wildlife federations and the local shooting clubs, they're doing great work. And for all those people who are trying to find their people, their shooting people, their opportunities to talk about new Canadian products or new sports, I would recommend getting out to take a little drive and go out to some of those small ones like Camrose or Vegreville. And I'm sure, Kelly, you've got a bunch in your area out in Ontario. That's where those people hang out, and those are the best conversations.
Yeah, there definitely are some really good conversations.
Absolutely. And quite often those gun shows have a whole bunch of collectibles, and so even some of the people I think are collectibles, quite frankly. So.
Oh yeah,
true. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you find
but they're so much fun
shows.
Absolutely. So when's your next match or your first match of the season, Kerri?
So we're going, the NRL match is Mother's Day weekend. So we're heading out for that one. Other than that one is Shane's match. Mine is, well, ours, I should say. Oh gosh, I think it's the second weekend in May. It's coming up.
A few weeks off. Yeah.
A
few weeks off.
It's coming up soon though.
Yeah, so that's April one in southern Alberta, down in Medicine Hat.
Excellent. So if anybody wants to go out and watch, they can go. Yep. There's a viewing gallery, right?
I believe so. It's run by a couple different guys this year, but they're awesome guys. So I think it's going to be nothing but amazing. I don't know if that rule has changed or not. So best to reach out to Sapril if you're wanting to come out just to make sure. But
great recommendation.
They are usually pretty open to having people come out and check out what the sport is about.
Yeah. It's one way to grow the sport. Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. Also reach out. They're always looking for volunteers, even people to flip burgers for the attendees.
Yeah.
Volunteers are welcome. So check it out.
That's a great point, Kelly. You don't have to shoot again to get involved. You can get out and learn by osmosis by being around everybody and sucking in all the great information and hearing the stories and handling some of the gear and talking to the sponsors. Everybody's there. It's a family, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
PRS matches. It's always nice to see all the gear. It's just real worthy. All the nice.
You don't have blingitis at all, do you, Kelly?
No.
Oh my goodness. No. Well, I think we have run out of questions for you, Kerri, but why is it important? Our last question. Why is it important for women to be involved, get involved, and stay involved in the shooting sports and the shooting community?
You know what? Knowledge is power. The more you know, the more you know. And honestly, I don't even know how it's for anyone to get out there and get behind a rifle just to understand the rifles aren't the bad guys. It's all about intent. And if you're going out there for a good time, there's nothing scary about it. It's important to know what you're talking about, because I find there's so many people out there talking about firearms and what's what about it, and they really don't know. Mm-hmm. They have no idea. So if you want to talk about it, learn about it.
I love that, Kerri. If you're gonna open your voice, you got to open your mind, right? So learn something and then speak from a place of integrity and not from the last social media post you just happened to read, not knowing if it was true or not. Excellent advice. Get involved, get out, learn something. Even if you only want to try it once, at least you have had an experience to speak from. So and that's what those ladies' days are for. So,
Yes.
but you're so right. Ladies' days, I'm just coming out this one time, and then they come year after year. So
Yeah.
I don't really want to shoot. I just want to watch.
Right.
They're usually by the end of it, they're the ones you're closing down the line and you have to pull them off the line.
Yeah. I've just had at the end of the day, they're like, are we done already?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Speaking about having fun, we're having so much fun. Casey and Rahina have come online to kick us off. So
Yeah.
I think it's time to thank some people, maybe ask some questions, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. Welcome back.
I mean, I think more than anything, we just wanted to join the conversation, join the
Right.
party. You guys are having so much fun. So Casey and I just figure we'll come and join you for a little bit.
Anytime.
So once again, thank you so much, Kerri, for joining us today. It was amazing having you. Yes, you've shared your social media with us. So in case you can just put the banner again, in case people want to reach out to you, they can go ahead and do that. Before I share CUSF events and whatnot, are there any events that you're running or that other organizations close to you are running that you would want to advertise?
So, like I said, the Chaz Ladies Day is coming up. It is on May 24th. It is an amazing event. If you're in the central Alberta area, I highly, highly recommend getting out there. I'm not sure what's going on there right now because, like I said, I'm not running this one, but I have run the past ones and they're wonderful. So if you get a chance to get out there, one of the most beautiful ranges in Canada, definitely get out there, send some rounds. There'll be shotgun, long range, pistols, all the good stuff. So
how many ladies show up at the Chaz range day typically?
Between 60 and 100 women show up.
Outstanding. Thank you. Just to set some expectations that you're not going to be one of 5. Okay.
No. Lots and lots of women out there, and it is a good time. You won't regret it for a second.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'll get on to the CUSF stuff. So as always, we're looking for volunteer. We're also looking for board members. So if you're interested in being part of the CUSF, please send us an email at submissions@cusf.ca. Just a brief email, just basically who you are and what you would bring up for the organization and maybe what area of the organization you may want to be involved in. Also, if you're a student at a Canadian university that does not currently have a gun club, you can also send us an email at submissions@cusf.ca and we can help you with getting a club started at your school. So that's it for CUSF. Kelly, Mapleseed.
Sure. So Mapleseed has events that you go into mapleseedrifleman.com. You can go into the events tab. You'll see that we're adding events. A lot of them are being uploaded even as we speak. You can go and see some that are opening soon, some that are currently open, and some that have sold out. Excuse me. First event for Project Mapleseed in Ontario is going to be happening on the 26th of April. And we have events that are popping up from across the country as well. So if you are wanting to know if there's going to be an event near you, you can email us at info@mapleseedrifleman.com and I'll send you over to the appropriate region. So just let us know where you're at and I can get you in contact with the region that's going to be having events in your area. And that's about it. What about you, Deneen and Casey? Lady Guns, what's going on with you guys?
Well, Casey's just settling in after moving, so we're not going to hold her accountable to getting out on the range quite yet. But I'm excited to hear what those plans will be once she's ready to go. So where I'm at, we've got the Easter Gun Show here in Calgary coming up this weekend. So for those of you who are going out, hope to see you there. I'll be hanging out and chatting with some of the legends of the shooting industry that go to that event. And who knows what I might find. So other things I'm working on right now is I'm learning how to field trial Springer Spaniels. So
Right.
For anybody that's interested in hunting dogs and has been listening to our podcast, I've been shooting over hunting dogs for years, but I've never actually trialed. And so I'm getting my chance this year. So I'm learning how to do that. And I'm volunteering for the ESA CE, the Calgary English Springer Spaniel Club. And both of those clubs are active. So anybody out there that's interested in learning about hunting dogs, there's the Two Spaniels clubs and the Wild Rose Club. They're looking for volunteers, and you don't have to shoot a gun. So that's another way to get into and around those interesting things that are involving shooting sports, but also involving these amazing animals. So I've got some private lessons coming up. Get to work with some of those fabulous ladies. Some of those ladies are actually wanting to take up hunting. Some fun days, and I'm taking another instructor course. So I will
Nice.
be, it's a shotgun course, and it is specific to trap and skeet. And so I'm going to add another course, hopefully, if I pass, to my resume, and I'll be able to work with even more women in a variety of additional shotgun sports. So that's what I've got going on. And as soon as Casey gets her guest room ready, I'm going to pack up and head south and go shoot something down in Texas.
Yes. Yes. And because we didn't mention it, I did just move to Texas. So this is where I am right now. We moved in last Thursday. So it's a little bit of a show right now,
but ladies' days in Texas, for those of you who follow us, we're going to set some of those up for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for your updates. Thank you so much again to Kerri for joining on us today. And I will go ahead and wrap it up. So thank you again to our sponsors, Cabela's Canada Outdoor Fund, Beretta, and Vortex. If you like today's episode, please leave us a like and follow us so that you don't miss out on any of our episodes. You can watch us on YouTube and Facebook, or you can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. If you liked our message and would like to learn more about our programs, check out our websites at cusf.ca, ladyguns.ca, and mapleseedrifleman.com. To support us and get some additional perks, check out our membership programs. Thank you all for tuning into the She Shoots podcast, Season 4, Episode 39, Aiming High. Make sure to join us on May 13th for the next episode of the She Shoots podcast at our regular time, and keep an eye on our social medias for the next episode announcement. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a good night.